Lời đầu tiên xin chào các độc giả đã đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com. Khi tìm đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng, chắc hẳn bạn đang mong muốn tìm cho mình một công cụ tốt nhất trong quá trình rèn luyện kỹ năng. Kỹ năng ở đây có thể là kỹ năng lãnh đạo, kỹ năng bán hàng, kỹ năng mềm, kỹ năng sống và rất nhiều các kỹ năng khác. Thông thường khi nghĩ đến việc rèn luyện các kỹ năng như chúng tôi đã đề cập ở trên, chúng ta thường hay nghĩ đến việc tìm mua cái đầu sách hoặc tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Nhưng trong cuộc sống bận rộn của thế kỷ 21, thời gian và tiền bạc là hai thứ luôn bị giới hạn nhiều nhất. Với sự ra đời của website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com, chúng tôi mang đến cho bạn một công cụ tốt hơn trong việc rèn luyện kỹ năng của mình, đó chính là các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng. Bạn sẽ không còn phải tốn quá nhiều thời gian để đọc sách hay tốn quá nhiều tài chính để tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Chỉ cần bỏ DVD vào đầu máy, ngay lập tức bạn đã có thể tận hưởng những thước phim quý giá được chia sẻ từ các diễn giả nổi tiếng tại Việt Nam và trên thế giới. Website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cung cấp đầy đủ cho bạn các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng trên nhiều lĩnh vực. Tất cả các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng của các diễn giả nước ngoài có tại website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com đều có phụ đề 100%, hỗ trợ tối đa cho quý độc giả khi theo dõi. Rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cam kết chất lượng tất cả các DVD khi cung cấp cho quý khách hàng. Với hân hạnh được phục vụ cho rất nhiều các khách hàng trên cả nước. Chỉ cần click đặt hàng, trong vòng 1 đến 3 ngày, bạn đã có thể cầm sản phẩm trong tay. Rèn luyện kỹ năng hân hạnh được phục vụ quý khách.
Autogenic training, very complicated. If you love yoga, you might like it because it's got lots of exercises that are very demanding exercises. It works, but it's also very long and lengthy. And like so much of all these things, they generally require a coach, a facilitator, a practitioner. So utilizing them to make some uncovering, to break through some invisible barrier, good idea. But even when you do utilize them, you'll talk to any one of these people that use them, and they'll tell you what I'm going to tell you today. Getting into the unconscious is not simple. Augmenting some way of changing that dialogue inside your head is desirable. Breaking through those self-imposed limitations is a necessity. And the responsibility to do that is you, not the facilitator, but you. In America, where it's used with physicians, healthcare practitioners, it's considered to be a take-home modality. You see your psychotherapist, you go home, and you have a little bit of therapy. So it isn't that these things aren't good or that they don't work, it's that for most of them, they take time that we're not inclined to invest in improving ourselves. There's another problem that accompanies this, and that has to do with our motivation. We say to ourselves, I want this. This is for me. I'm going to do this. So there's a great speaker coming to town. He's known to be, he, she, a great motivational person. And you say, you know, I'm going to go there and I'm going to get the secrets to all the success in the world. I'm going to hear this person. You go to them and you listen. We've done exit studies on some of these motivational rallies. And boy, there are some that can they're contagious, they're electric. The hackles on your neck stand up, you get goosebumps. Wow, wow. They have lights going in the background. They're like magic acts. And when you leave, we ask, hey, is this going to make a difference? And the vast majority say yes. Boy, I got some things here today that are just really going to change my life. I'm so glad I came. And then we go back 60 days later. And we ask these people, what have you done? How did you use the tools that you learned? Oh, you know, it just didn't work for me. I mean, I think my personality is a little different than that. Oh, I haven't had time yet, you know. I'm still probably going to do something, but I haven't had time. I just haven't got around to it. And on and on and on and on. Lots of excuses. Only a very small percentage of those people that went to that seminar actually used the tools, actually follow through. There's some script inside them, some resistance that's stopping them. It has nothing to do with the fact that it was a good tool or a bad tool that fits their personality, doesn't fit their personality. It has nothing to do with whether or not they had the time. They spent a lot of good money to go there. They spent it maybe a day, maybe 5 days attending. All it has to do with some inner script. That's why they don't do it. And then the next time somebody comes to town, not right away because we've got to have time, and we have to clear that out. Maybe the next year. Oh, there's a great speaker coming to town. I'm going to go there, and we do it all over again. You see a self-improvement industry, and you see people that are going to one after another, like the first one didn't have the answers that they told us it did. Has nothing to do with that. Has to do with them. Has to do with you. You ultimately have that responsibility. There's first denial. Everybody knows what denial is. No, I didn't do that. Wasn't me. Only we get denial in the unconscious as well. We get denial that refuses to acknowledge certain behaviors, that even rationalizes those behaviors. We have fantasy formation. Fantasy formation is simply, boy, if I ever run into her again, I'm going to say, I don't know, I can't see enough to tell. We fantasize not just about our behavior, but we fantasize about what we could have said, should have said, how we should have acted, could have acted, both in creating who we are and in creating defense mechanisms. It's their fault, not mine. We have introjection. That's common. We take too much blame. We put it all back on ourselves. I must not be any good. I just never have been able to do that. Oh, I just made a mistake. In acute cases, this can literally paralyze the human condition in its potential. We have isolation. Oh, that's withdrawal. We just pull away. We just disengage. Maybe we disengage like I'm never going to be on a stage. I'm not a singer. I can't hit a note. There's no way I'm going to ever sing again. But we isolate not just ourselves, but our behavior from ever engaging in some activities. And we also do that in defense mechanisms in how we perceive what we don't perceive. And I'll show you that visually in a minute. We have projection. I remember an arrest one day. The guy has just committed a burglary. He's fleeing from the scene. County detective grabs him. They're in a big fight. And I happen to just be driving by. Bang, out of the car. We cuff this guy. He's standing up. He's going to sue me. He's going to sue the county. He didn't do anything. This is a false arrest. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We tip his coat upside down, and it's got the contents of the house in it. What we have in projection is you're guilty, not me. And we see that very, very often in personal relationships. There's some behavior that's not working, and you accuse the other one of the behavior that you're doing yourself. That's projection. We have regression. True regression, we literally go back to an infantile age. I once worked with a young man by the name of Vic, whose father had access to every hospital in the world. And his son had been cross-diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and polio. But the bottom line, he was in a degenerative condition, in a wheelchair, and given a very short life expectancy. Boy was 14 years old. Vic flew into my offices. Is there anything we can do? We went through his profile at great extent. Robert Youngblood, an MD, qualified in this area, joined me, and we developed a profile. We basically concluded this was some kind of sibling rivalry because Vic was born healthy, he was born well, everything in his life was going great, he was the center of the universe, a very affluent family, being literally bathed with anything and everything, and then he has a sibling born. Well, the sibling suddenly is the center of attention, and Vic suddenly starts getting ill. All of the attention shifts back to Vic, and the sicker he is, the more attention he gets. He has special wheelchairs, the house is rigged with elevator lifts on the stairs, no expenses barred. Well, the only thing in Vic's history, and we kind of overlooked this at the beginning, was he had a minor birth defect that required a tracheotomy. Tracheotomy was done when he was 2. Sibling was born shortly thereafter. And I tell you that because it becomes important. We created the profile, sent the programs home with Vic Sr. Vic put a sound system throughout his house, which would be his style. It played in every room, 24 hours of the day. Vic Jr., in the middle of the night, 24-hour surveillance, the alarm goes off, he can't breathe. They rush him to the hospital. They do a tracheotomy. He recovers from the trach and the wheelchair. I have a picture of this boy, 16 years of age, 2 years later. There's no degeneration. He's standing proudly holding his driver's license up, sending me a letter with his photograph, standing